Now, NASCAR did a lot of research and of the G-forces. Now, NASCAR, when they take a curve, you know, because they would see someone take a curve too sharply, like, man, I wish they didn't do it. It almost threw me into the driver's side, man. Or maybe they take a curve this way and I almost threw the driver into the passenger side, you know? That's like God saying, did you pay attention this time? Pay attention. You know, it's kind of funny, right? All right, now let's get some serious stuff. All right. So, you get a little bit of oil on the ground, you get a slick, man, like an oil slick. You can slide off, man. Well, that's because they're going too fast. You know? So I'll tell you what. This is how you do the math, man. You go. A measurement tool to measure a micrometer you can't see with the human eye. So it compresses upon whatever you're trying to measure. And at a certain amount of pressure, the resistance of the pressure on the item tells you the number of micrometers of the size and mass of that object that you're trying to measure. I learned that working in a Jewish gun factory. Did I go to college for it? No, it's common sense to me, but it doesn't work like that for everybody, huh? That ain't you here. So, what we got here is a aircraft carrier. Call it the virtual golf course. Now, what we have over here, man, is this super guy, man. He's like got his tripod with his super measurement, with his super calculating computer with all kinds of measurements and stuff, man. Angles, distance, all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, that's like a technical job that he does, and it's like, man, we're trying to build an aircraft carrier they can pitch a football into and land without crashing. You see him put it down twice in the dirt. He's like, this ground's got to be sturdy. When that thing lands, man, it can't be like, so I got to make sure it's level. It's like where it needs to be, plus the windage, you know, and I got to look at the stuff around here, man. You know, I got like different resistances, and you know, then I got to like, it's like having a golf bag, you know. See him getting the golf bag? He's like, I got my flag right here, man. It's like, you know, on a Mars lander stuff, man, from NASA. It's like studying all this stuff, man. So they'll get our little moon flag out and, okay, can we land on the moon? That's a different gravity. Well, can we land on Mars? That's a different gravity. I says, I tell you what. Can we land in the desert? I don't know, man. That's what we're trying to do. So I says, I tell you what. We'll go over here and tell them about aircraft carrier. Anybody pass that test yet? We got a lot of pictures of an aircraft carrier. Tell me about the G-force, you know, of landing with the slingshot. Tell me about the slingshot and the G-force. When that plane landed and it got caught by the slingshot, what was the G-forces to slow that plane down? And what resistances did that aircraft carrier deck have to have with the water and salt washing over the deck? So you got a wet deck on an aircraft carrier with a slingshot and a curvature, plus you got to slow down and make sure you don't go off the other end, all at the same time. And why ask why about an aircraft carrier? And don't forget the kinetic injury of when they didn't get the science right, because boom, kinetic injury, yep, push it off the flight deck, burial at sea. I know, wartime, man. We gotta land another plane. I'm sorry about that, buddy. Okay, reset the cable. And then they go, Jesus Christ, do you know how many Jesus Christ there was on that ship? And then we go and we sit down. Say, you know, I wonder how many feathers we lost from those angels, you know, flying those birds on that aircraft carrier, man, that said, oh. You see how he lined that shot up, man? I just sit down on the hill. He's like, telepathic, man. I need you to sit right here. Okay, now I got my tripod there. Now, the quantum mechanics travel back through time and stuff, and I'm like, this guy's gonna sit right here while I set up my tripod, and I'm gonna drag my golf club bag out here, because I'm not swinging at golf balls to launch into outer space. I'm getting flags out because I'm trying to figure out how to land that golf ball coming down from outer space with my virtual aircraft carrier. And I'm trying to figure out the windages, the angles, you know, how the dirt has to be underneath, what surface am I going to put on top of that, plus a heat convection ratio, and then I've got you know, pondage, and I got to make sure that doesn't evaporate in the desert, plus I got to have windage block for the trees, for the O2 scrubbers to get the salt, and you know, well, no salt in the desert, but you know, get the sand, powdered sand out of the air so it doesn't destroy the engine while it's trying to land, so it can at least take off again. And then over here, you know, I got to figure out what's the difference in the sand dunes, you know, because they got sand dunes, slowing the wind down, speeding up, slowing the wind down, sinking, rising, and then twisting and turning. And I got the wormhole technology stuff, man. And then maybe after I get that set up, get supplies there, then we can get trucks, you know, that have trailers instead of empty trucks with no products to drive through the desert without people warring over it, trying to steal everything before it get there. So then we could have trucks delivering while we got planes delivering. That's called supply and demand, you know? And there's too much demand and not enough supply. So we try to do aeronautical industry to find out how we can get something to land with more payload. You know what payload is? It's less fuel, you know, so you could add more products with the proper technology. You get natural fuel from the ground to catch it, land it, and then products, and you load the trucks, and then everybody's happy without trying to go crazy. And this guy's like, man, I'm out here, you know, trying to do some research, you know, and that's what I do, man. People might not understand what I do, but this is what we do, man. You know, look at what we're doing. Now, he goes, I got a tripod, I've got flags, I've got telltale signs like the sailboats, you know, like little wands out there in the wind, man, like, hey, look at this, look at that, you know, boom, 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 you know, but that's just wind. Now, how does the sun affect the wind, man? I don't know, man. Well, we had sundials for that. So I got my two little sticks down there. Now, this is where it gets really weird. Now, you see he's got his tripod. He's lining me up, right? He's lining me up because he's like, look, I got all this other stuff I need you to look at. And while you're at it, I'm looking at your idea from yesterday, man. So I had you sit on the hill without you even knowing it while I'm lining up my tripod on your two sundial sticks over here, man. It's getting the shadow, man. You said fight in the shadow, man? He's like, I got it, man. I need some shade too. I'm taking notes, and now I need to give you some notes. So I'm like, all right, I'm paying attention, man. He goes, I'm glad, man, because we've been working on this for a long time. I says, cool, man. He says, you see this palm tree behind me? You know, I'm standing by the palm tree with a tripod. Right? Now I got my golf bag. I got another flag over here, right? It's like building a golf course for God, man. The gift of diplomacy, you know? So we're trying to figure out how to get more products, more job, more economy. And, you know, then we don't have homeless people and jobless people and people begging for education. So we got this little thing going. It's a pretty good idea. It says, look, man, you got chopper style, man. In the background, we got a chopper flying over. Why? Because a shorter runway, right? They've been trying to figure out how to land jets on a shorter runway, and we gotta have a real long runway, you know, with a shuttle. So shorter runway with a shuttle. Maybe we got a longer distance in the desert, you know, or maybe we just been doing it, you know, a little different. We got like, man, we got to do a airplane helicopter, you know, like a hybrid, you know. Same thing with the ground control, man. We gotta have like a, you know, a hybrid, you know, between the land and the sea, you know, and the air. So we make a a star-based aircraft carrier landing pad. You know, we got to study the windages and the different effects of those triangulations on the ground. So right now we don't have the triangles, man. We don't have the little three-sided pyramid triangles. So what we're doing is we're testing the wind, taking some readings. We're gonna write them down, okay? And then what we do is then we come back and we put our stuff in there, and then we see how it affects the stuff, because the weather changes every day. So we gotta get a little bit of study on that, and then we get a little study on that, and we do a little more research, and then we add some of the other stuff into there, right? And then we test that, and we get an ultralight that's flying over, and we get a regular plane to fly over, and then we get a jet to fly over and see the different effects over the different kind of aircraft. Then we get a helicopter to fly over, and then we can kind of take some readings and figure out what the difference is between all those, and put it all together, and then we make the super aircraft, right? And then we try to land that over here, you know, like, and they were like, man, that's pretty cool. He says, yeah, man. So we fly that over here, and we land it on the airstrip over there, and we're like, man, that's pretty cool. And then you go, man, and then we expand upon that, and then we're like, and that's like, you see this guy over here? He's like, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I got this triangle thing for here, man. I've got this thing with all this electronic. It measures the humidity in the air and all these different technical stuff, man. That's why I got a big keyboard on there with like all kind of stuff, man. It's like, see me walking through the field, man? That's right, man. I'm a big time technician dude, man. Like with a tripod with like all that super stuff, man. That's Superman right there, man. He's like, you know how long I've been working on this stuff, man? That's a guy that deserves respect, man. And people are like, I'm like, no, man, that guy right there is a superhero. Like, oh, man, yeah, man. You know why he's a superhero, man? Because he's trying to make sure those other superheroes ain't crash landing in the desert, man. Like, you know, because that's messed up. So we're like, we got to do a little more research, man.